Hello and welcome. My name's Luke Toohill and I'm an early childhood consultant from New South Wales, and I'm here today with Judy Radich and Neville Dwyer, and we're going to be talking a bit further about environments and the importance of learning environments for children's learning and the real importance of continuity and predictability for children.
Hi, I'm Judy Radich and I'm a Director of a long day care centre in Tweed Heads in northern New South Wales.
I'm Neville Dwyer, I'm the Director of the Dorothy Wade Centre for Early Learning in Griffith, New South Wales.
I think sometimes when we think about children's environments, we fall into the trap of thinking that they need to be primary coloured or bright and ever-changing, rather than actually recognising the real role that the environment plays in children's learning and the importance of an environment that doesn't change all the time. Judy, are you able to tell us a bit about your environment and how you think about it in terms of that continuity of learning rather than just about changing everything every 5 minutes?
I guess for me it is about continuity of learning, and for children I think an environment that's constant, that doesn't change a lot, gives children a sense of predictability and belonging. And so children every day know when they come in the door that certain things will be in certain places. And I guess for me as an educator, I think that's really significant in terms of children's learning. I would think that we wouldn't want to be constantly changing it, because then children wouldn't know where things were, and it would take away the control that children now have in their environment.
Yeah, I also look at it in the context of it, if somebody went into your own space at home and every day or every week moved the furniture around, how would you feel? And I think that when we constantly shift things around in children's spaces, they walk in and they're not quite sure, they're disorientated. And I think it disrupts what they want to do, their plans, what they've planned that they might do on that day, who they might play with. They're not quite sure when they walk into the room if that's all changed. Children especially younger children and babies, like to be able to know where to go, so they can work out, they've got those patterns and they know where particular blocks are, particular toys, or where people might sit, or where the books might be, or where they outside, where the sandpit is, or what might be in the sandpit, or where other things are.
Yeah, I think sometimes we forget that routines and a sense of predictability are really important in terms of children feeling safe and secure. And when they're feeling safe and secure, they do learn more. So I think it's really important that we as educators don't just think on a Friday afternoon that wouldn't it be great to turn the home corner into a shop. I mean, my view would be that children still might need that home corner if that's what you've always provided, and perhaps add something extra to it if you think the children have shown an interest in a shop. Rather than take things away that are certainties for children, actually add other things to them that might enrich their play if that's what you've observed children wanting.
And you might not do the whole makeover on a room, you might just change things. Things might move in and out slowly, but I know in our space that those things often change with children being involved in the changes. They're suggesting the ideas and it's coming from them, but those changes happen really slowly. So over a period of time, maybe months, the room will physically look different. Things might have moved around, but it's not going to be this instant stuff. And I know that when I first started working at the service and working in early childhood, there was that thing around programming that you had to change every week.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, what do you think it is that makes us sometimes want to do that? I wonder, do we feel bored? Do we imagine the children are bored?
I think part of it was we thought we had to do that because that's how you engage children's interest. But I think when you look back, you wondered why the children were really crazy. It was because they were totally disorientated and they didn't know what was going on where, and everything was always changing around them. And children need that consistency so they can actually plan what they're going to do, and so they can interact with their friends and that sort of stuff. But I think we thought we had to do it, and I know, we all shift. That's one of the things around the role of an educator is my own journey and my own thinking about children and how I value them and how I value my colleagues and the spaces I work in. That my thoughts around planning and around space has actually shifted.
And I think it's not that we're saying you can't change things, because sometimes you do have to change things. There might be a traffic flow problem, or you've just realised that children are running a lot inside, and so you might need to think about, well, why is that happening? And so there are times when you do need to change it, but I think it's like everything in early childhood that we do, there has to be a purpose for it. And then I think you have to have discussions with children so that they're part of that change. And even for me, like when we've bought major new pieces of equipment, we actually unpack those, and if it's a flat pack, put them together with the children. So it's not about us creating novelty, it's about this space belongs to all of us, and if we need to change things, we do it in a way that respects children and their sense of who they are, because part of our identity is locked into the places that we know best and feel comfortable in.
That sense of belonging, like recently we had some stuff come in and some furniture came in, required putting together. I actually got the children to put it together. They got the spanners out and the sense of pride. And they carry this furniture inside and they told their parents, and it was like, it's theirs. They've actually made it. And I'm thinking it's like this wow moment that here are the kids that actually own this space, and it's not really always about the adults. That we often think this is our space, and it's not. It's not our space.
Well, I often think we sometimes assume children don't think about our space when they're outside the doors, and that we imagine they come in the front door that day and it's only then that they look around to see what might I do, rather than actually realising they may be thinking all the way in the car. Or they may be thinking at home every day since they were last with us, this is what I do when I want to come back in. And then,
yeah, I'd agree, and I think we don't take into account that notion of children planning and children planning between one session and the next that they come, that maybe they've thought about that today they're going to do something when they come. And I think that's even respectful around the way we deal with when children are absent, because I often know children will think, well, today I'm going to play with Neville in the block corner, but when I discover that Neville's not here, I actually have to change my plan. So I think it's really respectful when we talk about the environment, that it is their environment, and they do think about it in between their sessions that they attend. So I think that's really important.
And they think about who they're going to play with. They think about who they're going to play with in this space, but it might be somebody different in the sandpit, it might be somebody different in the forest, but inside of the blocks it might be somebody different. The children interact in different ways with different children in different spaces, and I think that's really important that we remember that kids are thinking about all of this, not just in our space, but outside.
I guess for me too, that's why we try and have the same educators on Monday morning. So there's that predictability for children, and I can hear parents walking down the hallway, and even to very young babies, to say, let's go and see Sharon this morning. So even that predictability gives children some sense of security and certainty.
That lottery of who's there when you open the door.
Yes, and so that's why for us we have very set rosters for our staff, so it's not constantly changing.
And even in our place, we can't have, because we've got a very 11-hour day, so we've actually got this rotation, but we've actually got people who are slotted into particular shifts who are based in each room. And so that allows people to say, I know that in the morning there's this person on and this person on, and they're always there. So there's always a constant from each room, and other people will shift around.
And I find for families that's a security too, as they say, let's go and tell Sharon about what we saw on the way to Kowloon this morning. And so I think those things are really important about our environments and really make a difference to how children feel that sense of belongings, and families feel that.
Well, I was going to ask, how do you find that building that sense of continuity and predictability into what happens, how does that change children's experience and their learning?
Well, for me, I think it makes children feel more comfortable. And to me, I think when you're apprehensive and anxious, actually you don't learn very well. And so for everyone to feel comfortable, if parents feel comfortable leaving their children to go off to work, they'll have a happier day. If children are comfortable, their minds are able to focus on what it is they want to do and what they want to achieve, rather than being anxious and just worrying about when mum or dad are going to come back.
And that can even be to the routines that you might establish on welcoming children. We've got children, we go outside and we wave to mum and dad, but they actually get handed across to particular people in the team because that's who the connection is with, and they've established this routine. So we've got to make sure those people are available, and if they're not available any one day, that there is somebody else who also knows the routine who can come in and do that. And that's really important, because I think it's very important for the child to settle quickly and to be comfortable and move in and have success, but also for the parent to know that we care, that we're actually engaged deeply with that child. And that's important, because I think it's a huge thing to hand across your child to somebody else, to sort of say, here, take over my child for the day, and I hope that they, you know, that you care and love them in the same way that, and it's not the same way, it's a bit different, but it's the fact that they're amazing young people.